Hello, welcome back. Today I'm going to show you the power of CSS. Like, you will be shocked to see what CSS can do. I'll create 4 buttons, and on those 4 buttons I'm going to use 4 different hover effects, and you will be amazed to see those hover effects. So without wasting any time, let's get started, and let's first create the folder with the name hover, and let's open this with our text editor, which is VS Code. So let's create our HTML file, which is index.html, and here we are going to do the first formalities of creating a div. Let's change the title first, which will be hover, and here in the body we are going to use div. Give this div a class name, which will be container, and in the div we are going to create button. So here in this button we're going to give it a class name, which will be btn and btn1. Like, we'll create 4 different buttons, which will be btn2, btn3 and btn4. So let's copy this and paste it 3 times. So here are the 4 buttons that we are going to create. This will be 2, this will be 3, and this will be 4. Click here. Okay, this looks fine now. Now we are going to do the styling. So for that we are going to create the style.css. So here at first we are going to style our body. So for that we are going to use margin 0 and padding 0. Padding 0. Then we are going to use our class, which is container. Container, and here we are going to use text align center, because we want those buttons to be on center. Then we are going to use margin top 360 pixel. Let's save this, and you can see, okay, wait, I did the same mistake again. I have not linked the style sheet. style.css. Now let's save this, and you can see it has come in the middle. Now let's go to our next styling. We are going to style our button btn. That btn will style our whole buttons, like the whole 4 buttons will get styled by this btn. So for that we are going to use border 1 pixel solid, and the color will be blue. Then we're going to use background none, padding 10 pixel, 20 pixel, then cursor pointer, margin will be 10 pixel. Save this. This is how it looks like. It has got a border which is blue in color. Going to the next style. We are going to style the buttons now. So for that, at first we're going to use, we are going to style button 1 comma dot button 2. We're going to style this button 1 and button 2 first, where we're going to use the color as blue. Next we're going to style button 3 and 4. Let's copy this so it will be easier for me. Button 3 and button 4, where the color I'm going to use is white. Let's save this, and you can see it has got this blue color and it has got white color. Because of that, it's invisible. Now going to the next styling, we're going to use the hover effect. So let's use .btn hover comma, we're going to use the same effect for button 2 hover. So here we are going to use color white. Okay, to add some transition to make it smooth. So for that we're going to btn again, and here we're going to use transition of 0.8 seconds to make it smooth. Let's save this, and you can see it's getting smooth now. Use the hover effect on button 3 and 4. I did a mistake here. This is button 1. So let me copy this and paste it here, and I'm going to change this to button 3 and button 4, and here I'm going to use the color as blue. Let's save this. Now we are going to style the button again. For that we are going to use the btn, and here I'm going to use after. Now we're going to use content will be blank, then we're going to use position will be absolute, then we're going to use left, which will be 0, then we're going to use width which will be 100%, then height will be 100%, then we're going to use background which will be blue, then we're going to use z-index which will be -1, then we're going to use transition to make it smooth, which will be 0.8 second. Let's save this, and now you can see, okay, we did a mistake here. We haven't used position here in the button. So here we are going to use the position relative and overflow hidden. I hope this gets fixed now. Yes, this looks fine now. Now we are going for the next styling to make it clearly a hover effect. So for that we are going to, let me first keep this height 0%. Now you can see everything is visible in the first two. Now we are going to the button 1 and button 3. So in button 1 and button 3 we are going to use the hover effect. So I'll write button 1 after comma, I'll apply the same per button 3 after. Here I'm going to use top 0, then border radius 0, 0, then 50%, then 50%. This is the main part of this hover effect. Then we're going to use the same thing for button 2 and 4. So I have copied those, and I'm using 2 and button 4. But here I'm going to use bottom 0 and 50%, then 0, then 0. Okay, this looks fine. Then we are going to do the same thing for dot btn3 after, dot btn3 after, comma, dot btn4 after. Here we're going to use height 180%. Let's save this. Okay, this looks fine till now. Now we are going to the last part of this video. The last part is basically the main hover effect part. So for that we're going to create the btn colon hover, then colon after, comma, dot btn2 hover after. Here I'm going to use height, which will be 180%, and then I'm going to copy the same thing, paste it again, and here, sorry I hadn't written button 1 here. Okay, here I'm going to use button 3 and button 4, but here I'm going to use height 0%. Now everything's fine. Let's save this, and now you can see this is the main hover effect that I was exactly telling about. CSS is really very powerful. Like, you must have to know all the things to do a lot of different things. Like, if you know all the things, you can really get the craze out of this. This is a really beautiful hover effect you can do with CSS. I hope you guys like this video. If this video helps you, make sure you subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you again.